This is the Kick-Ass Geek Cast with your host, Daddy Warpig. I am back. That's right, the Kick-Ass Geek Cast for Wednesday, December 3rd, 2014. Broadcasting, as always, from a secret bunker deep underneath the House of Geekery. I am your host. You can catch me online on Twitter at Daddy_Warpig, at Daddy_Warpig, or check out the House of Geekery, DaddyWarpig.com, DaddyWarpig.com. The Kick-Ass Geekcast broadcasting live every Monday through Friday. Half an hour of news and commentary. We have started a new show, Geek Gab, the Geektacular Gab Fest, Sunday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, an hour of pure geek talk, all fun, no work, everything a geek loves to hear about. So check it out. By the way, as usual, we have lots and lots to cover tonight, so we're going to be moving very, very quickly. Try to keep up. As you may know, if you were here last night, the last 10 minutes of the show were truncated, even though I was doing my inimitable show. It was not being broadcast. Well, I summoned my squad of crack tech support gophers and sent them digging around in the various innards of my operating system to find out exactly what happened to the show. And the report they brought back is this. And it's kind of geeky, but you're listening to a show called the Kick-Ass Geekcast. So if you didn't want to hear geeky things, it's possible you might actually be listening to the wrong show. I'm just putting it out there. When you're using a browser such as Safari or Chrome, each individual tab is a separate process. It's a separate program. So you can force quit one tab and the whole browser won't be brought down. However, common code is shared between every tab. So for example, Flash is shared between every tab. So if a Flash commercial is loading on one web page and something happens with it, it will cause problems with all the Flash in every tab in your entire browser. So as far as I can tell, what happened was that an ad loading on a certain page caused problems not with Flash, but with the HTML5 client-side application software that Google uses for the back end for this show. It crashed, and when it crashed, it took down all of those API calls that would otherwise be made available for the broadcast, and that stopped the show. It cut it off. My mic was working, the internet was working, but that one ad on that one tab brought it all down. So in response to this sudden disaster, because the first thing I do when I have a disaster is find out what the hell went wrong so I can fix it and make sure it never happens again. In response to this one disaster, I went ahead and reinstalled AdBlock, Privacy Badger, and Ghostify. You may recall that I had an operating system crash, and because I had an operating system crash, I had to format my hard drive and reinstall everything. I'm running with bare minimum install, and I hadn't yet reinstalled those 3 add-ons, and so now that I've reinstalled them, no ads, and therefore no ads crashing, and therefore my show is fine, which is a big load off my shoulders because I hate doing. And I have to tell you this, I feel bad for the audience. They did stay around, some of them, through the entire 10 minutes of silence, which blows my mind. When I actually figured out what was wrong and reloaded the tab, it wouldn't let me restart so I could finish that 10 minutes again. I apologize for that. But what I feel most bad about is that this was 10 minutes of the best radio that anybody has ever heard in the history of the world. I mean, this was awesome radio. This was epic radio. This was legendary radio. This was radio good enough to get me a presidential nomination from any major party anywhere on the planet. It was awesome, and you missed it, and I feel so bad. And because it wasn't being recorded, it isn't saved on YouTube, so I can't even play it for you so you can enjoy how awesome this radio is. I'm sorry. That was 10 golden, pure, and perfect minutes that neither of us will ever be able to get back. I apologize. I wish I could. I can't. So I will just go on and do my best with the other shows. Speaking of which, I just want to let you know that you are listening to the man that SJWs are learning to fear. Why do I say that? Well, at one point yesterday or the day before, I got tagged into a conversation on Twitter. I made a response, and literally within a minute, the anti-troll who was stalking one of my friends on Twitter, said this. And one of GG's greatest apologists is on my timeline. Note to self, be still my heart. Now, here's some critical facts you might want to know. One, I have no idea who this person is. I've never seen them before. I've never tweeted at them at all. I've never included them in a reply. Therefore, they have no reason to know me unless somebody passed them a link or a screen cap to something I posted on Twitter, which means the antis are handing out stuff about me on Twitter, which is odd, because I'm not one of those people that regularly contacts antis. Generally speaking, I keep my distance. In fact, my broadside against Butt's head the other night, Monday night, was a rare example of me directly addressing one of them. So from these few contacts or from screen caps, my psycho stalker anti-troll is handing out as he obsessively checks my feed every minute of the day. I wish I was kidding about that, and I'm only slightly exaggerating. Some random anti knows who I am. And I don't know how many people have a espionage network dedicated to them, but I've had antis pass off information from my feed to a random Kotaku writer who got upset about something that was said and showed up to try and pick a fight. I told him, hey, have a nice day. Thanks for dropping by. Enjoy the comments. And I went away because I didn't want to fight with the Kotaku writer at that point. I mean, really, they're a Kotaku writer. What are you going to get them to do? They're already scum. It's not like you're going to, what they publish is horrific on other parts of Gawker. They work for Gawker. So what are you trying to do? Convert them to do something better? No. There's no reason to engage with them. So I just wished them a nice day and went on. But they also passed information to the editor-in-chief of PC Gamer magazine, who showed up in my mentions saying nasty things about me. And we had an interesting conversation over the course of about 4 hours. They have an active espionage operation. I don't know if it's against everybody in Gamergate or it's against selected people, but at the very least, I know on several occasions they've targeted me, which can only mean, despite the fact I have very few points of contact with the antis, my reputation is sweeping their ranks. He called me one of GG's greatest apologists, and I pointed out because I wanted to be obnoxious, I'll admit that apologist didn't mean what he thought it did. An apologist is not a person who makes apologies for something, oddly enough. An apologist is a person who makes an argument for a controversial position. That's it. That's what an apologist is. So if you ever heard, say, C.S. Lewis was an apologist for Christianity, all that means is he made an argument, a series of statements that he considered logical to endorse and support and advance Christianity. And using the real definition of the word, I suppose I qualify as an apologist for the pros, for those people who are pro-gaming, pro-gamer, and pro-ethics, because I do make logical and correct arguments for that position. Which really, if you're against that, if you're against ethics, if you're against the pros, is really hard to do. The antis try anyway. So I just wanted to let you know, those of you that listen to the show on a regular basis, apparently I have now become something like the boogeyman to countless numbers of antis, and it feels real good. I will not lie. Quick news. There are 2 points of news I want to bring up very, very quickly. One of which is this, and I want to steer clear of this whole thing because it became big drama, and I don't want to be involved in the big drama. At some point, it was announced that King of Paul would be interviewed by Fox, and then it was announced that because of the negative reaction from so many people in Gamergate, in the pros, that that offer had been withdrawn. I don't know if either of them are true, if either of them are false, but if you see drama today, either reading through the past or in the future, that is likely one of the large causes of it, because that spawned a whole bunch of drama, which then spawned drama about the drama, which just gets tedious. Second news story I want to mention real quick. There are changes coming to how block works on Twitter. We don't know yet, or I don't know yet at least, exactly what these changes are and exactly what they involve. At some point, Glenn Fleischman, who is, by the way, a prominent figure in Macintosh, in Apple journalism, Glenn Fleischman claimed that when you block somebody, now they will not be able to see your tweets either. So look for changes coming to how block works in the future. I do not know if that will also count for the block list, you know, the infamous block list created by Free BDSM Girl, but it is a possibility. Just be aware of that. If you no longer see tweets from antis, it's because you're blocked. And if you really, really want to subject yourself to them, and I will explain why later in the show, why I think that might be a good idea, then you'll need to log out or go use a different browser and view their tweets from there, because you will be blocked. Headlining story tonight was Target Australia, not America, Australia, yanked Grand Theft Auto 5 from their shelves. I'm going to read to you a bit from their actual official corporate press release. 3rd December 2014, Target Australia will stop selling the R-rated video game Grand Theft Auto 5 following feedback from customers about the game's depictions of violence against women. Target General Manager, Corporate Affairs Jim Cooper said the decision was made following extensive community and customer concern about the game. And because we've had customer feedback in support of us selling it, we respect their perspective on the issue. However, we feel the decision to stop selling GTA 5 is in line with the majority view of our customers. They will continue to sell other R-rated DVDs and games. Now, the reason why they decided to yank this game in the face of a mob is because a bunch of SJWs calling themselves feminists, and those of you who have been involved with Gamergate for any length of time know that SJWs are not necessarily feminists, and feminists are definitely not necessarily SJWs. So I want to make the distinction. These SJWs published a petition on change.org, and that petition made a number of significant misrepresentations of what Grand Theft Auto 5 is. They were specifically and exactly targeting, if you'll excuse the phrase, target 3 individuals, former sex workers, by their own statements. But because of this one petition, which according to one report got about 40,000 signatures, Target decided to yank Grand Theft Auto 5. My response is this, that they listened to lies and hysteria and decided to give away their freedoms to a mob. Now, what lies? This is the change.org petition. I'm going to read a couple of statements from the change.org petition. GTA 5 is a game that encourages players to murder women for entertainment. The incentive is to commit sexual violence against women, then abuse or kill them to proceed or get health points. And now Target are stocking it and promoting it for your Xmas stocking. This is Grand Theft Auto 5. This means that after various sex acts, players are given options to kill women by punching her unconscious, killing her with a machete, bat, or guns to get their money returned. One of many fan clips on YouTube shows the women being run down, run over, set alight, and still screaming, repeatedly shot. This misogynistic GTA 5 literally makes a game of bashing, killing, and horrific violence against women. It also links sexual arousal and violence. Now, I want to tell you, although I assume most of you already know, that this is, and there's more, it goes on in that vein. There is no doubt in my mind that these are a pack of lies. Now, how would I know that? I know that because I've played Grand Theft Auto 5 a lot. I played it on the 360, I've played it on the PS3, and I've played it on the Xbox One. I've got 100% in the game on the PS3, 100% of the game twice on the 360, and that's painful. That's optional. It's very, very painful because you have to do a whole bunch of crap. It means I've played the hell out of the game, and I am working through a playthrough on my Xbox One, it just having come out. So I know for a fact that they're lying. The game does not encourage you to murder women of any kind. The game does not encourage you by giving you points for murdering women of any kind, nor does it give you health back for murdering women of any kind. Let me be more specific. It does not do any of those things for murdering men either. All of those are lies. So, based on this pack of lies, these SJWs got Target in Australia, just Target right now, but they could easily throw up another change.org petition and try to get it yanked from other stores. They threw these lies up, got it yanked. So, obviously, I'm going to start with the easy and obvious comment that this is a censorious attitude that based on ignorant, false, malicious lies, they are getting GTA 5 yanked from store shelves. These lies are, and then that's wrong. Okay, obviously that's wrong. I'm going to endorse it being wrong because I'm a gamer and I enjoy the game. And I have to tell you, not once did I do any of the things they're describing. They're lying about it. But what's more important is this. Many, many times I've gotten pushback from people when I say the following. We need to spread good information because lies that are not countered are believed. Let me say that again. Lies that are not countered with the truth are believed. And if we don't respond to lies with good information, that means the lies become the received wisdom and people act as if those lies were true, just like Target did. Now, I am speaking in a greater context than just one game. I'm speaking in the context of all of the endeavors we are engaged in as pros. People lie about us all the time. And I made an effort to document some of these lies and to collect good information. And it's not just me. Many people have done the exact same thing to either challenge the liars for more information or to gather good information, new information, and to spread this good information. Many people have done this. And I get frequent comments from people saying one of two things. One, everybody already knows this, which isn't true. Or two, don't touch the poop. Now, I am an advocate for not feeding trolls. That is not getting involved in back and forth spats where you're just throwing nasty names at each other like you were third graders. Yes, that's stupid, it's wrong, and it's pointless. But spreading good information is not pointless, even if you're not spreading it to that troll. Even if you're just leaving a comment for other people who read that troll to run across your information. You make it available so people can run across it and read it and understand the truth. That doesn't guarantee they will, but it's possible. So what I'm telling you, in addition to this proving, one, that SJW censor, and two, that they intend or will at some point come to censor video games if we allow them to have that much influence in the industry to where it's possible. They will do this not just to Target, but every store, every retailer in the industry, every publisher in the industry, and eventually all the developers in the industry they can nab. They censored GTA 5 by lying. They will do it to every other game that offends them. They will do it to every retailer they can. And the more power they get, the more effective they will get at censoring. You do not want this to happen. This is why Gamergate is important, because we want to keep games from getting censored. They will do it. But two, it is important to spread good information, because if we walk away without contradicting lies, we allow those lies to spread unchecked, and that is disastrous. That will kill us. If everyone believed 100% what Zoe Quinn and Brianna Wu and all of the other literalies believed or claim, we would be dead in the water. We've only managed to keep our heads above water because we keep spreading good information to neutrals so they can see what's going on. And I say this is important, and I repeat that point because I have, in point of fact, gotten pushback on it, and I wanted to tell you why that's incorrect. So, what is it that we are trying to do in the pros? What are we trying to accomplish, and why does it work? I just posted this earlier today, about 3 hours ago, and I want to run through it because this encapsulated for me what I consider to be a good strategy for the pros. I'm not presenting this as any kind of official policy position, but I think that this is And this will help you understand why we're doing what we're doing and how it will be effective. How do we win? What's our goal? Well, our first goal, our primary goal, is to cut back or eliminate corruption in video games media. So how do we do that? One, those media outlets who are corrupt, we hurt them and make them vulnerable. Two, we grow new outlets to replace them. That's how you get honesty, transparency in video games journalism. You weaken and hurt the bad places, the bad outlets, and you boost and strengthen the good outlets. Now, you may say, oh, that's self-evident. Well, maybe it is, but I'm just encapsulating something. So if you think it's self-evident, if you think it's obvious, then that's an indication that I'm right, which I am. So we hurt media, bad media outlets, corrupt media outlets by revealing their corruption, boycotting them, and driving away advertisers. This may drive some of them out of business, or it may drive them to a point of low energy survival. It doesn't matter which. What matters is that we are weakening them. We are weakening them and keeping them busy and driving them out so that we can get customers and readers away from them, because what we want is to replace them with new media outlets. So we weaken them, take away readers, and direct those readers to new media outlets. So new outlets include blogs, YouTubers, and even muckrakers, like the Ralph Retort. We need to give these new outlets a chance to gain and earn an audience. That way, they can grow larger and larger and more prominent so that they can survive in a harsh media, competitive media environment, and they can supplant the corrupt organizations. Now, I'm going to tell you my honest opinion about who is and isn't corrupt. Those people who have made changes to their policies and are willing to abide by those changes, I think, in my personal opinion, I've let them go. They have chosen to do the right thing. They are not a primary focus for me. It has been 3 months since this started, and those media organizations who have refused to even adopt the barest hint of moral, good, decent ethics policies are the intransigent, are the intractables, are the incorrigibles. They will not be willing to do the right thing. I'm talking about Kotaku, I'm talking about Polygon, I'm talking about GamerRanks, I'm talking about Rock Paper Shotgun, I'm talking about Gama Sutra, and a few others. So what we want to do is to grow new organizations, to supplant them and replace them. I would also include in that organizations such as the Independent Game Developers Association, the IGDA, and there are people who are working on that. That's outside of my specific focus, though. I'm focusing on the media. Now, media is corrupt. These hardcores, these incorrigibles are corrupt. So we grow a healthy games media where we can, that is in those places we can, to the extent that we can. We grow a healthy games media. We obsolete the corrupt media and we replace the corrupt media. This is simple, it is effective, and we can't lose. So long as we keep pushing at it, so long as we keep working at it, so long as we keep trying. It's a foolproof plan. It doesn't just depend on emails, and it doesn't depend on advertisers responding. More important, it is doable, it is already being done, and it works. Emails are critical. They are important. They buy us time. They allow us to drive the old guard back while we build their replacements. And we will replace them because we already were before Gamergate got started. YouTubers were already massive before Gamergate got started, and all of these smaller niche sites already existed, and then we added new ones starting up during. We are already replacing them. We are already winning. We just have to keep fighting. We just have to keep sending emails and doing a few other key things. So I'm going to talk about this more on Twitter because I think that there are some things we can do to make this more efficient and make this more effective. Specifically, we want to bring news sites to the attention of people, to the attention of gamers, not as an endorser of Gamergate, but as a place to get good gaming news and good gaming reviews so that anybody will want to go there. Because in order to replace the old, you have to give people an alternative. And so we want to start taking action to publicize good alternatives like Tech Raptor, like Niche Gamer, like Good Gamers. Publicize them to give them a chance to earn an audience. Earning an audience is a slow process, but we can speed it up. We want to continue emailing advertisers. We want to continue investigating and reporting outlets. That is, investigating their corruption and posting it as news on these news sites, but also reporting it to the government for criminal or civil penalties if appropriate. Publicize and patronize outlets and individuals. If you have YouTubers who are new, who are not part of this corrupt media or are replacing part of it, or if you have outlets that are new, we want to publicize those. And those that you like, those that you want to read, we want you to go and start reading them instead of some of these corrupt organizations. Now, like I said, this is not anything new. This is stuff people have already been doing for the last 3 months. I'm just putting it in context of tactically implementing this grand strategy of degrade the bad media and replace them, supplant them, move on. We may not be able to drive every single one of these sites out of business, but we can weaken them to the point where competitors spring up, competitors who grow strong, competitors who can survive, competitors who offer a real alternative. That's how we win. We also want to publicize and patronize developers. And last but not least, in connection with these new policies going up on Twitter, we ought to find out what lies are being told about Gamergate or about the controversies and provide good information to decry the lies. Because just like we've seen with Target, if we don't provide good information, bad information will fill the gap. I guarantee. I'm going to talk some more about this strategy. I'm going to talk some more about my tactics for dealing with this on Twitter. Maybe, after the show, maybe a little bit later after I've had some time to take care of a few things. But this is a roadmap for victory, and I want to share it with as many people as I can, so that we can move forward with a newfound confidence, so that people can stop worrying. Hey, are we going anywhere? What are we doing? What are we achieving? Is there any path to victory? What does victory look like? What are we actually trying to do here? I'm telling you what victory looks like. Victory looks like hurting the corrupt as much as possible and helping the good as much as possible, so that we can tip the balance back to an honest, to a decent games media, games journalism. I am your host, Daddy Warpig. This is the Kick-Ass Geek Cast every Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, half an hour of news and commentary. You can also check me out Sunday nights, 7 p.m., 1 hour, the Geek Gab, the Geek-tacular Gab Fest. I take questions from the audience. I have guests and co-hosts, and it's all fun, no work, every single geeky thing under the sun. Check me out online, daddywarpig.com, daddywarpig.com. It's a box of chocolates, folks. The House of Geekery, one great geek post every single day, bringing you something you don't expect, but is nonetheless awesome. And last but not least, if you don't, you should follow me on Twitter at daddy_warpig, at daddy_warpig. Kick-Ass Geekcast. If you like the show, if you love the show, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please click, the up vote or one of those 30 buttons underneath the window so you can tell your friends how awesome this show really is help me grow my audience so that I can bring more great shows like this to everyone. I'm your host, Daddy Warpig, and as always, I will be back.